Hackers are constantly looking for new ways to break into your computer network, to access your data, and to hold it hostage. How do you protect yourself? I'm Brian Longworth, host of A Faster PC Live Technical Support. And coming up next, I'll go over the most critical threats we've seen in the last week, explain these threats, and show you concrete steps you can take to protect your computers, your computer network, and your data against these threats. We're going to just go over quickly these threats, and then we'll go over these in a little bit more detail. But there's a Hazy Hawk gang that is exploiting DNS misconfigurations to hijack trusted domains. In other words, they're hijacking trusted websites, big websites, even universities, government agencies, Fortune 500 companies. We'll discuss that coming up. Also, service desks are under attack, IT service desks. There's a critical zero-day threat that has been found in the Versa Networks SD-WAN SASE platform. Also, 100+ fake Chrome extensions that are found hijacking sessions, stealing credentials, and injecting ads. There's a ghost buckets, how abandoned S3 storage became a supply chain threat. Also, Cisco patches a high severity denial of service privilege escalation vulnerabilities, and Marks and Spencer's expects a ransomware attack to cost $400 million to clean up. You heard that right, $400 million to clean up. So there's the Hazy Hawk gang that is exploiting DNS misconfigurations to hijack trusted domains. Now, there's a lot of acronyms in computers, and I always try to explain these so that you know really what we're talking about. And you know what, if I ever miss explaining something, just let us know. Comment on the videos, or give us a call, 772-340-5090. We can actually go over that. I'll actually try to explain it a little bit better. But DNS is where there's a server that actually points your computer that's trying to get to a resource to that resource. And so let's say a fasterpc.com. Well, if you want to go to a fasterpc.com, well, that's actually at a IP address. And the IP address is, something that you're not going to remember. So really the DNS server just says all you have to do is type in a fasterpc.com, and then we can actually configure the DNS records so that the website actually points to the right location and gets to the right location. So that's what DNS is. So there are DNS records that are out there that have been changed. Maybe a subdomain is not being used anymore, but the record is still there, and the subdomain was actually using cloud storage, maybe Amazon or Microsoft or Google. And so what the hackers do is they actually go and they create a new entity that is actually using that same exact name. So then what happens is that subdomain, instead of going nowhere like it was when, really what they should have done is actually edit the CNAME in the DNS, and they didn't do that. So what happens is, again, that was going to nowhere, but now that the hackers created a service with this identical name of the previous one, and so what actually happens is they then start hosting scams, fake applications, and malicious advertisements on these sites. And so you can imagine going to, and I don't know, I'm just using this, I'm not saying that Bank of America has been subject to this, but let's say you go to onlineaccess.bankofamerica.com and you see a site that looks just like Bank of America, and you can actually type in your username and password, and really you would be giving the bad guys your username and password at that point. So this is something to be aware of, and just watch out if you're there. And this is really tricky, because one of the things we say is make sure you're at the website. If you're going to a fasterpc.com, make sure it's a fasterpc.com. If you're going to Bank of America, make sure it's bankofamerica.com. But when there's a subdomain before the main domain, there's actually a dot between it. So for instance, let's say there was a online access.bankofamerica.com. The online access would be the subdomain. Whenever you're looking at a subdomain, because of this new threat, you do have to be a little bit suspicious. Verify that that is an actual subdomain with that organization. And also, pay attention and learn what the subdomains are, or use a password manager that can actually keep track of the website that you're supposed to be going to. Service desk or IT service desk are under attack. Cybercriminals are increasingly targeting IT service desks by impersonating employees and using social engineering to gain unauthorized access to systems. These attacks often involve convincing agents to reset passwords or bypass security controls, exploiting the human element in the support process. Here's another thing. They can actually spoof a phone number, so the phone number could be the customer's phone number, and they can use AI if they have a recording of the person. They can use AI to actually reproduce the person's voice. We've had customers that have had phone calls that sounded like it was from their grandkids, and it wasn't. Imagine someone spoofing your phone number and your voice to actually call a computer support company and get them to reset your password and let the bad guys into the system. So really what needs to happen is there needs to be additional verification steps that need to be taken, and this is something that a faster PC can provide for you if you're out there looking for IT support. There's a critical zero-day threat that is found in Versa Networks SD-WAN SASE SASE platform. Several critical zero-day vulnerabilities have been discovered in Versa Networks operating system, which powers the SD-WAN and SASE products. These flaws allow unauthorized attackers to execute arbitrary code, posing a major threat to edge network infrastructure. Although Versa Networks claims to have released patches, the researchers who disclosed the vulnerabilities have not found any publicly available patches, promoting concerns about unmitigated risk and urging users to take additional security precautions. There's 100+ fake Chrome extensions that are found to hijack sessions, steal credentials, and inject ads. So a recent cybersecurity investigation uncovered over 100 malicious Chrome extensions. And by the way, an extension is something that's added to your browser to do various things. And there are legitimate extensions, and then there are illegitimate extensions. We've seen a lot of illegitimate. I would say there's probably even more than 100 illegitimate extensions out there. And this particular one, what it actually does, there's over 100 of these that are, again, allowing people to steal credentials, exfiltrate user data, hijack sessions. That means that when you get logged in and authenticated with Google or with your bank or something like that, they can take the session cookie, take it to their computer and put it into their browser, and then they are authenticated just like you are, and inject unauthorized advertisements. These extensions often request extensive permissions, enabling them to interact with all websites visited, execute arbitrary code from attacker-controlled domains, and manipulate browser sessions. Users are advised to install extensions only from verified developers, carefully review requested permissions, and remain vigilant against lookalike extensions that may compromise browser security. There's a ghost bucket, how abandoned S3 storage became a supply chain threat. Researchers at Watchtower Labs have uncovered a significant cybersecurity vulnerability involving abandoned Amazon S3 buckets. In other words, companies were using Amazon's cloud storage and then abandoned that storage by re-registering approximately 150 such buckets previously used in various software products and infrastructure development pipelines. They observed over 8 million HTTP requests within 2 months. These requests originated from sensitive networks, including government agencies, military organizations, financial institutions, and universities seeking resources like software and binary code. So these studies highlight the critical risk posed by neglecting cloud storage access, emphasizing the need for organizations to implement stringent lifecycle management. Cisco patches high severity denial of service privilege escalation vulnerabilities. Cisco has released patches for several high severity vulnerability affecting products such as Cisco Secure Client and Identity Services Engine. The vulnerabilities could allow attackers to cause denial of service conditions or escalate privileges. Some of the issues can be exploited remotely without authentication. Cisco stated that there are no workarounds for these flaws, but has provided patches. And there is no evidence of active exploits at this time. But I can tell you, if you don't install those patches and you're using Cisco, you're a sitting duck for infections. Mark and Spencer expects a ransomware attack to cost $400 million. Mark and Spector, M&S, expects a recent ransomware attack to cost the company around $400 million in operating profit over the fiscal year 2025 and 2026. Attributed to the DragonForce group, the attack disrupted operations, including online shopping services, expected to remain offline through July, and impacted food sales due to reduced availability and increased logistical cost. Customer data, including contract details, order history, and mass payment card info, was also stolen. M&S is working to offset losses through insurance, cost control, and other measures. You don't want to end up like that. And listen, I know that this is a lot and this can be confusing, and you may say, hey, I don't even know if any of these apply to me. Well, you need help when you have cybersecurity problems, or maybe you don't even know whether you have cybersecurity problems or not. You need a faster PC. Go to our website at fasterpc.com or give us a call, 772-878-5978. Cybersecurity problems, you know it. You need a faster PC.